or outside of a gym environment with this, that my body physique and everything changed because my focus didn't drift. It became solely on me and it became internalized. Hey guys, how's it going? TRX Traveller Adam here. Today I'm just going to have a little chat about my own personal opinion on whether you can build muscle with a TRX. I think especially with the lockdown recently and COVID, it's been quite a bit of a hot topic. I know I certainly had a lot of DMs and questions from people all over asking if it's possible. In my opinion, my experience, you absolutely can build muscle with a TRX. Now of course you expect me to say that, being a TRX traveller. But one of the biggest things that I ever learned was your muscle, it doesn't know whether you're holding a broomstick or a dumbbell. You know, all it understands is the tension that you can create through the muscle, in the muscle, through a range of movement, an active range of movement. Now, you could build muscle with a broomstick if you can cause enough tension, if you can get enough breakdown and blood rush into that muscle to cause catabolic breakdown. You could build muscle with a broomstick. You build muscle with anything if you perform it right and you can create tension on the muscle. The TRX just happens to be a wicked tool to do it with, you know. Now, I think the fundamental thing, what I see people doing a lot of the time with the TRX is they just move with it. They just move, and that's what I try and sort of teach people. You know, don't just move with the TRX. It's still a tool, just like a weight is a tool, just like a can of beer is a tool. You know, it's still a tool to use to train the muscle. So don't just treat it as something to balance with or something to hold, and don't just move. You know, when you're using the TRX, think about the exact muscle you want to isolate, and think about purely contracting that muscle. It's focusing on the contraction of the muscle that causes the movement, not the movement that causes contraction. It's internally thinking and focusing. And yes, that's when you can get much more detailed and you know, the tiny little tweaks of wrists and pronating and all that sort of stuff, and you can then start doing the drop sets. But I think it's sort of initially taking a step back and just understanding and appreciating that, you know, it's exactly like a dumbbell. You can create the same amount of tension and load on your body with gravity in this, just as you do with a dumbbell. There's no difference. So you don't necessarily need to treat the training differently. I just think that the massive added benefit is that the training with this you can do in your own space, in your own time, and you're not going to be having someone ask you, can I use that bench? You finish that weight, and you know, it takes it out of you. There's a lot of the times when I'm training and it actually close my eyes. You know, I'll be working through sets and then I'll have my eyes closed and I go in this almost meditative state, and I can just feel, I can almost visualize, and I can almost see how my muscles are lengthening and contracting as I'm using the TRX, and it feels awesome. You know, come away with it and I'm like, whoa, I don't know where I've been for the last hour, but Christ, I've got one hell of a pump, and yeah, my mind's clear. And I spent a lot of my life living in my 20s. I'm now 33. I spent a lot of my life in my 20s living inside a gym, and I really believed I had to be near one or in one all the time to achieve any level of fitness, or to be honest, to just look good. You know, I wanted just to look good. I'm not a pro athlete. I'm not a bodybuilder. I just want to feel healthy, and I want to look good. The possibilities of TRX also lie in being able to use it properly to actually isolate areas. You know, it's great being, you know, I see a lot of people doing Ys, which is a great example. And I say, well, what are you trying to target with the Y there? And they're like, I don't know, just maybe a bit of my shoulders, a bit of my back or something. You know, and I see people sort of retract and as they're doing Ys, and I say to them, well, you know, if you're, think about it, if you're retracting your shoulder blades as you're doing a Y, how do you retract? You have to engage your back muscles to pull the shoulder blades back, yeah? How about trying to do the Y if you protract? So protract your shoulders. What does that do? That takes all the back out. So now when you do the Y, staying protracted, what's happening? Well, all the tension's been put just on the rear deltoid here. So that's a way of isolating just that. So I think it's seeing the TRX as a tool to be able to isolate with as well, just like how you would see someone in a gym with a bench, and they would bend over, they would get maybe the 2 or the 3 dumbbells, they would turn their wrist and they would, you know, they would lift up like this, and they're trying to purposely isolate, you know, the rear deltoid. So yeah, you know, this is when it then does get into areas of real bodybuilding, you know, essentially sculpting, body sculpting. It's about also being, I think, playful with it. You know, it's very easy to sit with dumbbells and and either side and curl and make sure you can keep your elbow there, you can isolate, you can monitor your wrist. When you're hanging from a TRX, it's a little bit more difficult to sort of say, well, I can't really keep my arms there, so how can I isolate? Do I pull them in here? Can I go fully down? Probably can't. I can maybe only go to about there. So how am I going to target the lower part of my bicep there? The lower end of the strength curve, because if I'm only engaging that, it's not really picking up that. Well, how about if I do a one-arm curl where I'm hanging and I go side on? And then I can really extend my bicep out, and I can really focus on pulling right up and engaging the bottom end of the bicep there. And I can certainly pronate, twist at the wrist. So there's multiple ways to emulate if you want to, exactly the same way you would lift dumbbells or weights in the gym. With the TRX, it's just about sort of getting a bit creative and thinking and assessing. And that's exactly what I do. And when I'm looking to, well, I'm always looking to increase muscle mass as much as I can. And when I over the years I study ferociously people like Ben Pulowski, who I think is an incredible. He's almost like a bodybuilder turned yoga teacher. And the way he talks about muscles and how he talks about how you can target and isolate and the intention and people like that. Alicia Gowan's another fantastic female bodybuilder who's incredibly skilled. I absorb what they have to say and what they do in the gym, and I think to myself, well, how can we apply those principles with the TRX? Why does it have to be that only in a gym with weights you can increase muscle size and body build? This is just a tool. It's all the intention, the thought, and the connection with the tool, what stimulates the growth. That was when everything changed for me. Everything clicked when I started using a TRX. In my own space, in my own time, outside of a gym environment. I was on my own on a beach in Mexico, in the middle of nowhere, and you realise that, well, I haven't got a huge weight that I can just add. I haven't got a dumbbell I can just keep whacking on weight plates I can just keep whacking on to a squat or anything like that. So what do? Well, I have to really now focus on feeling the muscle contract. I have to really now focus on feeling the muscle work. And that's what changed for me. It made me take a step back, and I really internalized myself. And when I was using the TRX, I really studied and felt and really took so much notice of how my body felt using it, how I could contract muscles, how I could place them under different loads of tension. Whereas when I used to be in the gym, my focus was, right, I want to lift that heavy one because I want to look good, the kind of bro style of lift, and it was like, right, I need to add more weight this week because I have to increase my weight each week. And I get so distracted by the people in the gym as well. There's always a bigger fish, there's always a better looking fish, there's always a stronger fish, and you're always distracted by that. And it wasn't until I was in my own space, doing my own thing in a flat, in a house, or outside of a gym environment with this, that my body physique and everything changed, because my focus didn't drift. It became solely on me, and it became internalized. But I think overall the main one is just it's meditation is possible in your own space, in your own time, and internal focus and feeling is amazing. Arnie, Arnie used to always talk about mind to muscle connection, this internal feeling, but what you don't actually hear him talk about is that when he was in the gyms, they were dead, they were really quiet. It was the only guys that really come in the gym was proper bodybuilders. It was their era that exploded it, and everyone started going into gyms, and everyone started to try and bodybuild. So it got much harder to internally focus and to almost meditate. Frank Zane as well, even in his books, he talks so much about meditation and being in his own place, in his own zone, in his own frame of mind when he was working out. I've never known the video of Frank Zane when he's doing. I think he spent 2 hours doing side crunches on a chair once in the gym, and you can see he's just in this zone. But you look at the space he's in, there's like 2 people there, and they're professionals in their own zone. You try and do 2 hours now crunches in the gym, someone's going to kick you straight off a bench after 5 minutes of trying to do them. So there is this huge, in my opinion, huge benefit of being able to exercise in your own space, your own time, when you want. It's just like it's just the same as when you work. If you're working away, you need quietness. When you're reading in the library, you need quiet to focus. And the same can be said for exercise and muscle building specifically. really sort of feeling it work, and really internalising that feeling of how the muscle feels when it contracts when you're doing different exercises. And that's why I absolutely love the creativity you can get with a TRX, because it's just endless. The slight sort of variation just of moving your feet from different angles and different angles to where you position the TRX and how you pull yourself up can be slightly different every time, obviously, unless you're specifically marking it. So you're constantly incorporating a tiny different angle of that muscle. The photos that I'm putting up, my little videos that I'm showing here as I'm talking, this is just me over the past 5 or 6 years as I've been training for TRX all over the world in different places. So I've at least managed to, not that I'm trying to judge myself or say I'm ahead of anyone, but I've at least managed to maybe maintain some muscle. If you don't want to say that I've added any, personally I think I've added some, because I can see differences in my physique, my sculpture. I've got to a stage now where I really sort of work on programs that look at weak points with TRX training, and I almost approach my TRX training with a bodybuilding style. Where's my weak point, right? How can I use the TRX to target just that specific muscle, just that outer quad? Or how can I target just the peak, just the upper end of the strength curve on the bicep? So I just love dissecting and looking at things like that. So yes, that is my my ramble on is it possible to build muscle with the TRX. Again, I'm not a bodybuilder, I'm by no means a stage athlete or anything like that. I just have a huge passion in being able to exercise anywhere and achieve my own fitness goals wherever I like, and I have a huge passion wanting other people to experience that as well and have that kind of eye opener that I did, because I honestly believe it's life changing. I was so anchored to a gym before I discovered that, and now I'm barely anchored anywhere. I kind of live sort of out of a backpack, but that might change soon. Maybe settle a bit more here in London. It's such a fantastic city. So yes, if you've got any comments or debates, I'd love to debate this more or discuss it more. So please leave some comments below, and even if you argue against me, go against me. Debate away. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this and listen to my ramblings. If you want to know more about me, got links down below. You can see what I do and how bloody obsessively crazy I am about TRX and travelling and being able to exercise anywhere. Thanks very much for watching.